Hello everyone, you're watching The Esperanza 243. And for those of you who speak Spanish, hola hola. Shoot. I am so rusty with my Spanish. Shoot. Yeah, I'm complete brain dead. I need to brush up on my Spanish again. I suppose my father can help. I'm getting sidetracked. This video is part 1 of a book reading. Sad to say, I decided not to do A Coma Helps All. I mean, really, I do feel comfortable reading that one for book reading, but it's just such a complicated story that I'd rather not read it, which probably explains why I only read this book like once a year, maybe once every 2 years actually. I only force myself to read it to make sure it's not too complicated. And I actually did that earlier this year, and I'm not really in the mood to read it again. Anyways, this book that I will be reading to you for part 1 of this book reading collection is called Long Live Menavia. I stumbled there. Long Live Menavia. It is a country I made up. I was going to use real countries, but I decided not to, considering I would have to actually use the rulers' names. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, so. By the way, if you're wondering, those 2 countries are Andorra and Monaco. If you don't know what those countries are, you need to brush up on your history. It's what helps with a little bit of research. I actually really like this book. I am going to read the synopsis for Long Live Menavia before I continue on reading, just in case you guys don't remember from the heartburn. In case you guys don't remember from the synopsis reading. Here we go. Long Live Menavia. Synopsis, not the book. It's almost like Rapunzel, or the Man in the Iron Mask. When Caprice was born, a riot was close to destroying her family. In order to keep the future of Menavia safe, a secret guardian of the royal family split her and her twin brother apart. The brother was kept close and well hidden. Caprice was sent to another country, Meltrova. Now that she's 14, it's time for her to come back. The question is, will she rise to rule Menavia, or will her brother? It's up to them and their parents. Alright. And now to reading the actual book. Long Live Menavia, written by moi. Once upon a time, in a far land called Meltrova, there lived a man and wife. They lived in a populated district in Meltrova, where everyone knew of every person, almost by name. Though the couple didn't have much, they did have everything anyone could have. A good house, jobs to pay the bills, and unconditional love for each other. Even though they had everything, the married couple was sad. The wife could not bear a child. One day, the sky was covered with clouds, making the day lifeless. Some of the clouds were darker than others. That made the day even more dreary. The next second, it started pouring. A wind was blowing very strong, causing their windows to fly open. The couple began to close each window again and tightened the knobs at each top, locking them in place. Thunder rumbled. It rumbled again, covering a knock at their front door. The husband thought he heard something. The knocking continued after the thunder died down. He went to the front door as his wife lit some candles. By the time he reached the door, the knocking stopped. He opened the door. No one was there. "Hello?" he called out. That was when something started crying loudly. He looked down and widened his eyes. Right before him on the ground was a basket, and inside the basket was a baby. He looked up and around. It didn't look like anyone was around. He hesitated. His wife stepped behind him and gasped. He looked at her. The babe was still crying. The wife became concerned. She frowned. "Poor thing. Bring in the baby. It must be hungry." "Honey, the baby doesn't belong to us." "Someone left this poor baby to us for a reason. Maybe we should carry out the responsibility. We have wanted a child for a long time now." Her husband sighed. He lifted the basket and carried it to the dining table. By then, the babe's crying softened, but then it started hiccuping. His wife hurried with heating some milk. When he put the basket on his table, he spotted something sticking out. He pulled it out. It was a letter. It was addressed to whoever accepted the baby. "Marie, come look at this. Someone left a note." She lowered the heat a bit and came to his side. She had a curious look on her face. "What does it say?" He shrugged and then turned the letter over to open it. On the back of the envelope was a special seal. They did not recognize it. "Read it, dear." He broke the seal and opened the letter. It was written in French. The man was more familiar with English and Italian. He did his best to translate it, though. Excuse me. "Dear kind stranger, I apologize for doing this, but something had to be done. Our kingdom is in a war that could define our future. Should we lose, the royal family could be killed or murdered. Of all else, we would need someone to survive. The princess of Menavia has given birth to twins, one of which is a boy, a rightful heir. The other is a girl. I am bestowing you the baby girl should anything happen to our baby prince. I have not given her a name, for I fear I would grow attached to her once she is given away. I am taking even more precaution. I have left you a locket by her side. Should anything happen to you, let her have it and this letter. She would have to travel back to Imra. There she shall find Monsieur Baldwin, who shall help her find her family. He may be old by then. Some people know where he is, but not very many. He shall train her. Please raise her well. Thank you, Miss or Mr. Monsieur Chevalier." The man had his eyes wide. His wife sighed in content. "Sweetheart, it seems we have a daughter." She picked up the baby carefully and cradled her. "What should we name her?" He looked at the baby and observed her face. He smiled softly. "Perhaps Perhaps we should give her a name that would ring with her family. He looked at his wife. She nodded. How would Caroline work? The wife shook her head. The name is too common. It was quiet for a long time. There were not many names that were common and had a hidden meaning to their birthright. What do you think of Audrey? I like it. To be honest, I think Audrey isn't much of a French name. She sighed. I know. She paused. I just realized if we give her a common name for royalty or a name that rings more French, it might let others think there's more to her history. She nodded. He thought for a while. How about Nerissa? She smiled. I like it. Nerissa sounds quite Italian. But we don't know if she'll grow up with black hair. That would make us a bit suspicious. Oh, Marie, don't worry so much about our future. He cupped her cheek. We will raise this girl with pride, no matter what. She smiled. He gasped as he took his hand away. What do you think of Caprice? She thought for a moment. Caprice is a good name. It's French, Italian, and it's English. Dear, Capriccio? Do we really want people to feel horror? Horror? Make them think she'll cause their hair to stand on its end? He gave her a look. All right, I'll calm down. She sighed. Caprice it is then. She looked down at the baby in her arms. What do you think? Do you like Caprice, little darling? The baby cooed and grinned. The woman smiled and gasped. Oh, the milk! She carefully walked back to the kitchen and checked the milk. It wasn't too hot or too cold. It was just right. Oh dear, we don't have a bottle for her. Her husband hurried off somewhere in the house. He remembered something. He came back with a smile and something in his hand. She heard his footsteps coming behind her and turned. She gasped after looking at his hand. Your water feeder, she whispered. She looked at him. How will you feed your friendly tongue twister? How will you feed your friendly flying friends? I can buy the materials to make a new one. Go ahead. Caprice needs it. She handed him Caprice and poured enough milk in the feeder. She put it close to the baby's mouth. Caprice wasn't sure what to do with the feeder. She noticed the pointy part. Then a drop of milk came out and landed on her chin. The baby cooed and reached for it. And there I'm going to stop. Just want to check the time real quick. Good time. So tell me what you think. I will let you guys go. I'll probably try to do some. I don't know when, but I'll probably do a book reading via my new camcorder, and then do the rest of that book reading on here. So, I guess I shall bid you guys adieu. Adieu, adieu to you and you and you. This is the Esperanza 243 signing off.